Hey everyone, so let's get started. Welcome to CS 125 again. Hope many of you have found your way to the website and through the online materials that we posted for today. So let me talk, as we get started this semester, a little bit about what this is. So this is not a lecture, this walkthrough that I'm going to do every day. This is not lecture, this is not required viewing. This is designed to be helpful. And, you know, we'll see how this goes. My goal here is also not to substitute for the work that you have to do going through the lesson contents on your own time. That's on you. So don't see this as a substitute for working your way through the lesson materials that we've prepared for you. I'm certainly not going to sit here and play all of these videos and to listen to myself, talk and type and stuff like that. That's for you to do on your own time. But what I thought I would do is just take some time every day to talk a little bit about what we're doing, answer some questions. So if you want to ask a question, what I'm doing is I've disabled the chat for the YouTube live stream, but I am monitoring the forum link or the forum topic for lesson 0. So if you go to the course forum, go to the lessons area, there's a lesson 0 topic, and I'll keep an eye on that as we go through today's material. But so again, key things to keep in mind with this walkthrough for those of you that want to join. I'll try to make it fun. I'll try to kind of bring a different perspective to some of the things, maybe talk a little about some of the backstory, give me a chance to kind of ramble and go off on tangents a little bit, which is always fun. But this is not lecture. There is no lecture for CS 125 this semester. So if you attend these walkthroughs, which I hope some of you will, we also have lots of other options and I'll go over the calendar in a minute. So don't come to my session, sit through it every day for an hour, and then expect to learn the material that way. That's not how this is going to work. You really do need to sit down with each day's lesson, work through the content, go through the examples, and do that on your own. All right, so today is really just a getting started walkthrough. I'm not sure this will take very long. The material I hope is mostly self-explanatory. I'll talk a little bit about kind of what our goals are this semester and some of the strategies that we're using to deal with the kind of different type of circumstances that we're working under. So in the past, this course has always had a real focus on daily preparation and daily work. Putting in the time, putting in the hours, and doing something a little bit every day. And that's no different this semester. Having you guys come to class 3 days a week. Learning anything, whether it's an instrument, a foreign language, a sport, getting in better shape, changing your eating habits, is something that you have to do a little bit every day. You can't cram it. You can't fake it. It's just got to, when you come to the quiz, which will start next Tuesday, not tomorrow, but when you come to those weekly quizzes, if you've put in the work throughout the week, you're going to do fine. If you didn't, you're going to be exposed. And that will be a reminder to you that there are components of the class or things that we need to do to learn that you haven't quite figured out. So this semester, as the lesson explains, every day there will be a lesson posted. I'll kind of show you where those are going to be. The website is something that we're still working out some of the kinks with, so bear with us. But if you go to the homepage, and it's also under a fair amount of load right now. I'm going to look into this later in the day. I think there's some tweaks that we need to make to our web servers to kind of keep up with you guys. So I may see some website errors here as we go around. If you go over here into the Learn section, I see a few more of these because we're drafting some ones for later in the week. If you're enrolled in the class, you're probably going to only see the Welcome to CS 125 lesson. So let's look at that. We go here, and this is the lesson content. And again, right now you guys will only see the one for today. So every day, build in some time into your schedule to work on material for 125. And again, for some of you, you're going to come to the lesson pages, you're going to work through the videos, the walkthroughs, you're going to do the homework problem, and you're going to go to bed at night and feel great about things, and you're going to be learning the material a little bit at a time. And that's it. That's all you have to do. None of all of the other stuff that we've put together is mandatory. This isn't mandatory. The sessions that are run by the staff aren't mandatory. We're doing these things to try to help you, to try to support you, but they're not mandatory. What I'm worried is that some of you may look at the schedule, you may see this, and you'll be like, oh, there's 5 lectures a week for, and they're longer than, that's more time. And I just want to make it very clear that everything on the schedule, everything on the calendar is optional. The lessons are not optional. That's time that you need to put in. And I'll leave it up to you. Many of you come from different backgrounds. Some of you have a fair amount of programming experience already. Some of you have never written a line of code before in your entire life. And this class is designed to adapt to both of those different populations. Our goal by the end of the semester is that we converge. We take, those of you that started off with no programming experience, and we built you up to the point where you can succeed in courses that follow CS 125. Those of you who have had some background, we're going to firm up those foundations, but again, get you to the point where you can succeed in later classes. So the lessons, as you see, are sort of a mixture of different types of content. Big warning I want to make, and I'll probably say this multiple times over the course of the week, is that the text in these lessons is not intended to stand on its own. So don't just go through and think that you've read it and you're going to be prepared for the quiz or understand how to do the homework problem. Our goal here is to, use several different types of media to present these ideas and explain things in a way that's appropriate to what we're trying to do. So you'll see, that we have these videos that are embedded. Let me go into preview mode so you guys don't see the notes. Videos that are embedded for you to watch. We have these interactive playgrounds. I can't stress how important these playgrounds are, particularly for those of you that are just getting started with programming. Learning how to program is an interactive process. It's not something, in my opinion, that you learn particularly effectively from a book or from, people read, oh, I read a book about how to program in Java. You don't know Java. You've never written a line of code. You don't know what's going to happen. So what we do is we give you lots and lots of opportunities without having to install a big piece of fancy software and deal with all of this rigmarole, right? Particularly when we're getting started, we're going to do a lot of things in these small little editor windows that are embedded throughout the lessons. A lot of times we'll make a point about how a particular piece of code works by showing you that piece of code and letting you run it and see what happens. That's a huge part, particularly when you're just getting started, of how you experiment with programming and how you start to understand how computers behave and how they respond to the things that you're trying to get them to do. So again, these playgrounds are everywhere. They're safe. There's nothing bad that's going to happen if you type in something wrong or whatever. I mean, you're not going to crash the website or get an angry email from me or whatever. It's just there for you to play with, right? And play, again, is a big part of what we do in this class. We play with code. We play with computers. That's sort of what programming is, right? It is fun. It is exciting. It's incredibly engaging in terms of activating both sides of your brain. And we'll do a lot of that, small pieces throughout the lessons. We also have these new interactive walkthroughs, and I'm super excited about this part of the class because this brings together, what I'm doing now, which is this voiceover explanation with actual interactive work in code. So when you play these, what you'll see is that, I guess I am going to sit here and listen to myself. You'll start to hear audio from the browser. You can skip around in these, but the contents of this window are being updated with my changes as I go along, and you're also able to see what happened when I ran the code as I was recording this. At any time, you're welcome to stop, try running the code, try doing different things, experiment. When you start to play again, it'll sync up again and you'll see what I was doing. And so these are probably one of the more important components that we're using this semester as we try to get you started programming. And we'll use these throughout the entire semester. I'm going to try to keep these short, around 5 to 10 minutes. So sometimes we'll take a bigger explanation to break it down into a couple different pieces. And that's it. And then we have these videos from time to time. We're going to try to use videos sparingly. There's some times when it's good to see a human face, or we want to draw something. There's times when pictures are really useful, particularly when we start to work with some data structures later in the class, or with objects or whatever. So there may be times that we get out a whiteboard and draw some things and talk about what's going on. But we'll do a lot with those interactive walkthroughs, a lot with the playgrounds. And then towards the end, you have a homework problem. And these are, this is part of your daily practice. So if you've absorbed that lesson's material, you should not have a problem completing that day's homework problem. Today's is quite straightforward. In the future, they will definitely get more difficult as the semester goes on. The homework problems really vary. Some days you'll sit down and it'll come to you right away. Other days may take a little bit longer than that. But again, this is a big part of us having a sense that you're understanding the material, you're starting to absorb what we're trying to do, and that you've sort of captured the essence of that day's lesson. If you're struggling with the homework problem, my first suggestion is review the lesson, because there's probably something you missed. Maybe you skipped one of the videos or one of the walkthroughs. But if you're having a hard time with the programming problem, please don't come to the forum first and ask for help. The first thing I would do is kind of back up, a little bit, maybe go back to the top of the lesson, work your way through again and see if there's a concept that didn't quite make sense or something that you missed. All right, I see a few questions popping up on the forum, so let me go grab some of those. Let's see here. I can certainly. So we'll talk about tools and other things as well as we go throughout the semester. Right now, there's nothing to install. There's no software package that you need to install. Everything that we've got for you is embedded in the browser. So there's no real need to install anything. As far as, so we have some great questions here. So, for some of you that might be still considering CS 101, CS 101's a great course. It teaches the Python programming language. This course teaches the Java programming language. That's one of the differences. CS 101, I would probably say, moves at a little bit of a slower pace than we do. This is the first course for computer science majors, and there are many of you that are majoring in computer science that are in this class, and welcome to you as well as everybody in the course. So that's a 2-bit summary of the differences. The course staff will help you with more of that. We can talk about some of these. I'll answer later offline. Let's see here. Oh, coders. Okay, and that's something I didn't actually cover very well in the walkthrough. So we are going to be, one of the other things we do this semester is we spend a fair amount of time in this class, and we'll do a little bit of that today, talking about what it means to be a computer scientist, what it's like to work and to live in technology. And to be an active participant in this field. We'll talk about a little bit what that means from a cultural perspective, but also from an emotional and a psychological perspective, because there are certain aspects of this that some of you are going to start experiencing in this course that can be negative. This can be a very, very frustrating thing to do. I've been doing this for 20 years now, and I'm good at it. And there are still days where I get really, really angry. And really frustrated because I can't get something to work the way I want it to, or something weird has happened, it doesn't make any sense to me. And so that's not something that is confined to this class. Some of you over the next few weeks, particularly if you don't have as much programming experience, may feel these sort of sense of frustration, and you may think, man, this really isn't for me. I should not take this course, I should drop the class, I should give up. I just want you to know that's not what those feelings mean. What those feelings mean is you're a normal human being who's experiencing working with a computer that is an incredibly frustrating, companion when it comes to interaction, right? And now that's the good news. The bad news is that some of that doesn't really go away. And so, one of the things we'll talk about is, what do you do to cope? How do you deal with frustration? What do you do when you get angry or upset? And how do you manage some of those feelings? Coders, the book that we're going to read, partly we read this because it gets into a lot of this. Coders is a fantastic book. It's really sort of an anthropological study of computer science as a field. He talks to a lot of programmers. He tells great stories about the field. But he also gives you a sense of like some of the dark corners that are, there in technology, in terms of, how technology treats people that work within this field, not always the best sometimes. Some of the myths and preoccupations of people that work in technology, that there are like people that are just born knowing how to code and people that aren't, which is totally false. This is something that's learned. Computers are a man-made thing, and they're very strange. No one is like in the womb figuring out how to work with a computer. This is not something that our ancestors that were roaming, the savannah hunting animals had to think about, right? Computers are a completely new thing. Nobody is born knowing how to do this. Everybody learns it at different times in their life, but we all come to it at some point, and we have a chance to learn it. And hopefully for some of you, this semester is that chance, and this will work. So there'll be some questions on each quiz about coders. We'll post the reading assignments. Again, I don't think you guys will mind this book too much. I haven't had very many complaints since we started using it. It's a great book. It's really well written. It's full of fascinating stories. And some of you are a little like, I realize every year I get older and you guys stay the same age roughly. And some of you are young enough now that you don't know some of this stuff, right? You weren't around when Facebook got started. So you may not have ever known about some of the resistance that Facebook experienced when they rolled out the news feed, for example, right? I mean, that's a story from the first chapter of Coders. So a lot of great stuff in that book. I think you'll enjoy it, and it'll help give you a sense of kind of like what you're getting yourself into. The two main websites that you'll need for this class, there may be three, but for now there's two, are the main course website and the forum. Pretty much all the lesson content, the homework problems are going to be posted on the course forum, on the course website. The course forum is where we do all of our discussions. We do a lot of Q&A. We'll also have a video help feature that will be added to the main course website quite soon. It's possible that we're going to use a different tool to run the weekly quizzes. We're still sort of hemming and hawing about that. I'll sort of give you guys a sense of where we're going with that next week. So there may be one more site you need to use. So again, Coders is, let's see here, 196. So we do get a lot of questions about 196 early in the semester. There's a video at the bottom of today's lesson, an introduction from the 196 co-leads. The course is fantastic. I'd highly encourage anybody to take it. The only thing that people will say about it, and you can get a lot of information about 196 from talking to our course staff on the forum, is that it is a fair amount of work, particularly for a 1 credit hour class. But for some of you, particularly if you're getting started with this and it really feels exciting and it's like, I want to learn more and I can't get enough of this, 196 is a great way to get more. And to become part of a community of some really fantastic students that are responsible for running that class. Let's see here. Do you have to buy the book, Coders? Yeah, you do have to purchase the book. It's the one thing for the class that we do ask you to buy. I don't know how much it is on Kindle now. You can read it on your phone. So it's not a huge expense. Hopefully that's okay. There's no textbook for this class. There's no WebAssign to sign up for. We used to have people use a homework platform that was like $25 a semester. We stopped that. So, we've really driven the price of this course down to like basically zero. There's no paid software that you have to install. Coders is the one thing that we do ask you to get. So Android Student, okay, I'm going through no, you don't have to get anything from the online bookstore. I'm not even sure they have this book. Like, this isn't a textbook. This is just a book that you can, like I said, you can order it on Amazon. It should ship pretty quickly. You can get it on the Kindle. There's a variety of different ways to get a hold of the book. Tomorrow there will not be a quiz. So it's a great question. So tomorrow's discussion section we're going to use just to give you guys a chance to kind of meet up with each other and get to know a few of your fellow classmates. The first quiz that we will run will be next week. The first week's quiz we usually just like stuff about the syllabus, not super heavy, and so we're just gonna skip that this year. Let me go back to, so I've been parked here on the lesson page for a little bit. Let me show you, let's talk a little bit about some of the programming that we're doing. because I'm really excited about that. So, and programming becomes a loaded word in this class, but when I say programming, I'm actually talking about these sessions that our staff are running to give you guys more help and more chances to ask questions and get more information about what's going on. So I'm going to go over to the syllabus. And if we go, I'll put up a better link to the calendar. I need to get around to that. It's sort of hiding in here. It's really hiding in here. There it is. Okay, so here's the calendar. Let me open it in Google Calendar. Now, let's see. I need to use my other account. Okay, so here is, and let's look at the week view. So here's what this week looks like in let me take off this guy. So here's what this week looks like in CS 125. You'll see that we've got like pretty much every day from 9 to 6, we have a packed schedule. Today's a little light, first day, that's okay. A lot of what we're doing this week though are these first week sessions. Okay, so let me talk a little bit about this aspect of the class because this is something else that's also new and something that we really designed with the needs of students who are working remotely in mind. So, in the past, we used to run office hours down in the basement of Siebel and everybody would combine. There was a community that space enabled. Now we don't have that option. And so what we're doing instead is I've engaged our fantastic course staff and had them sign up to lead a bunch of these walkthroughs and different types of sessions. One thing I want to make sure that students in this class understand is that these are not just office hours. You can't just show up to one of these and ask a random question. These are programs. There's a plan, right, for each one of them. There may be time set aside by the people that are running it for questions, but these aren't just like open-ended Q&A. So let's look, for example, at let's look at today's calendar. Harsh got us off to a great start this morning. He did a new student onboarding session at 5 a.m. So he's helping us out doing some things in Eastern time zones, which is really fantastic. My session is running now. And then this afternoon we have 4 different sessions. Actually, we have 5 more sessions today. We have 2 on today's homework problem. This is something that we're going to do every single day. So every day you need a little extra help with the homework, we've got you covered. We have a 5 p.m. session, and then we have an 8 p.m. session, and those are run by rotating a staff of course members. It's going to be the same person every day on a given week. But if there's a particular day where you need a little bit of extra help on the homework problem, didn't get started early enough, or it's a little confusing to you, join up with one of these. Zoom links are embedded in all of these calendar invites. Hopefully Zoom will be working again by the time 2 p.m. rolls around. We start to try this. Maybe we'll have to look for some alternatives. I think they'll get it propped up again. It makes me feel a little bit less bad about some of the website issues we're having, given that there seems to be basically flaming IT issues. So, this afternoon, but every day from now until the end of the class, you will have 2 opportunities every day to get some help with that day's homework problem. You'll also have opportunities in the morning. If you look over here tomorrow at 10 a.m., we'll have staff reviewing the previous day's homework problem. So if that one was a little confusing to you, maybe you didn't get a chance to finish it, they'll do a walkthrough where they'll kind of talk you through how to do it, some of the tricks or some places where people might have gotten stuck, and give you some, maybe go through some of your answers, get some feedback on how you solve the problem. So again, this is something that we're going to do to help you out on the homework. So similarly for the quizzes, we'll have for every week, we'll have quiz preparation sessions running on Sunday and Monday, a couple times each day to get you ready for that quiz you're going to take on Tuesday. And then on Wednesday, we'll have quiz review sessions looking back at Tuesday's quiz and giving you a chance to kind of ask more questions about the material or get a sense of, I couldn't figure out that one question, what was going on with that, can someone explain it to me? So that's sort of like most of, if you look at next week, you'll see the kind of like, this is most of our, we're still filling in a few slots here and there, but this is sort of most of our planned regular programming, except for the stuff that's going to cover the machine project. Those sessions will start up when we release the machine project in a few weeks. This week, we have quite, some of the questions that are coming up in the forum right now, we have quite a few different daily sessions with course staff to get you started with CS 125. And that goes for the entire week. Some of you may not have time today, but we've got these on Friday, right? We've got them on Thursday, we have them on Wednesday, we have them on Tuesday. So don't everybody feel like you always need to go to the, the Ask Us Anything session this afternoon. You can go to one on Thursday or one later in the week. So, we have onboarding sessions. Those are going to be chances, just people walking you through the getting started steps, make sure that you're on the forum, help you figure out how to set up a gravatar, get you, acquainted with how to go through the lessons, maybe work on any technical issues you might be having. We will have a daily social, so I'll be hosting that one today along with Nathaniel. We'll have those at 4 p.m. throughout the week. This is really just a chance to come by and say hi, meet some other students, meet some staff members. We'll probably put people into small little breakout rooms just to give them a chance to chat with each other. And then, there's this Ask Us Anything. And that's really just designed for kind of open-ended questions about the course, advice you might want to receive about how to succeed. All the people that are running these are fantastic course staff, returning people that really understand how the course works and what we're trying to accomplish. Speaking of the course staff, normally, I feel a little bit embarrassed that I didn't lead off with this. So normally I would sort of start off today by introducing the course staff, and we'd all be on stage together. I'm super excited about the staff this semester. We have a fantastic group. You can go through, and some of them have welcome videos posted that you can check out and get a sense of who's who. I'm still in the process of making sure everybody has one of these, so we'll work on that over the next few days. But we have a fantastic group, mixture of undergraduates who've taken the course recently, graduate students who are helping out this semester, and it's just I'm really excited about this team that we have. This course is a community. It's not just a class. This is a group of people that are united by this passion that we have for computer science, and for helping people along this particular stage of the journey, right? I see you now, and we have a fantastic semester together, and then you go off, and you guys do great things as you move through the program. But this particular community really just enjoys watching people start to fall in love with computer science and start to really get excited about the field and all the potential that it offers. And they are incredibly supportive. They're here because they want you to succeed. They want you to make it to the end of the semester. They're going to be there to pick you up along the way when you fall down. They're going to be there to kind of remind you that it's okay when you get frustrated. They've been to the mountaintop, right? Or at least farther up the slope. And they know what the journey is like. They know it's not always easy. They know there are moments that are tough and frustrating and where you might get upset and feel down. But they also know that you can succeed in this if you do a little bit every day, and just stay calm, keep on trucking, keep on working, try something else, try a different approach. That determination that comes with knowledge that you can do this. One of the things, one of the only things I feel like I've learned in my 20 years in this field is not to give up. It's that simple. There's times when I really want to, where I'm just like, oh, it's probably good enough, There's a stubbornness that comes along with the sense of, I can get that to work. I know I can. It might take more time and energy than I would like, but I can get it to work. And you guys will start to realize that through the homework, right? There'll be homework problems that you'll work on. It'll be really hard for you to finish, but you'll get there. And then you'll be like, wow, I did that. When that happens, when you do have those moments where it's like, aha, I got that to work, take a moment, stop, just, take a breath, feel good about yourself. That's something that I think computer scientists don't do enough. A lot of times it's like immediately on to the next problem. If you read Coders, he talks a little bit about this in the book. The fact that on some level, computer science, sometimes people that are in the field talk about their life is basically an endless series of trying to fix things, right? It's like you get one bug fixed and now you're on to the next bug or the next problem. And there's not always a time to celebrate, to realize kind of what you've accomplished. So try to take those moments along the way. All right, let's pop back on the forum. Okay. What is I don't give away answers about the hat. You got to do some of your own research on that. But that's a great question. The hat means something. So there are two parts of the course website that will come online this semester that are not available yet. The first one is our help site, so that should come up within the next week. And the second one is the grading page, and that one I'm not sure exactly when we'll get to, but we will get there. For the time being, you should have visual feedback about whether or not you finished that day's homework, so you'll know that. And then for the quizzes, depending on which platform you use, you'll have access to your quiz scores. So I think by the time that people start to get worried about grades, we will have our grading page up and ready to go. But those are the two things that we do plan to have available to you this semester that aren't ready to go on day one. And I apologize for that. We did a lot of work over the summer to try to prepare stuff for the semester. And as always, we're a little behind schedule. So those things will come along, but they aren't there now. Let's see here. The daily homeworks are due at midnight. They're the first set. So if you look at there's a deadline posted on the lesson page. Try to make this as obvious for people as possible. Okay, so go down here to the homework problem. Let me turn on preview mode again, and yeah. So here it'll warn you about when you have until to complete the homework problem until you've completed it. You submit the homework by using this. This is actually some of these questions are covered in the lesson walkthrough, so some of these I'm going to start to kind of drop. You guys go through the lesson, today's lesson, watch the videos. Some of the questions you're answering will be covered, right? Like how to do the homework and things like that. Once you've completed the homework problem, this message should go away. The first set of homework problems. So the first couple weeks, we got some students showing up late. We have some people kind of coming and going. And so some people are trying to figure out how to get access to things. Obviously, this cloud dashboard thing went down and we weren't planning on that. So first couple weeks, stuff comes and goes. And so we've left the first set of homework problems open to complete until, as you see, September 6th, right? After that point, the homework will be due on the day that they're assigned. Okay, this is critical. If we don't do this, you guys wait, and then you try to do them all at once. Doing that daily practice, that daily routine, is really a big part of how we allow students to succeed in this class. So get used to that. Start doing the homework when you go through the lesson on the day that they're released, because starting September 7th, we will enforce that. There's a good question that came up. Let me go back. Yeah, so how is it different than the concept review, the daily lesson overview? I don't know. You can think of it as just another concept review, done by me. The labs and quizzes, again, we're still figuring out exactly how we're going to do those. Discussion sections, the ones that are on the calendar will be run by the course staff, and so it's really up to them to decide how those are going to work. What I've suggested they do is they have some material to present every time, and then they take questions. Prairie Learn, not sure we're going to use Prairie Learn this semester, so that's why the course isn't up there yet. If we do, we'll post it there. If we don't, we won't. So again, that's where we would do the quizzes. The homework problems are no longer on Prairie Learn. They were in the past. Now they're being done through the website. What is Prairie Learn for? Prairie Learn is a platform for delivering assessments, essentially, and it's something that was developed here at the University of Illinois. It's a great tool. It's in use by a lot of courses. We've decided not to use it for the homework problems this semester because we wanted to really integrate those homework problems very tightly with the course content. And that's something that's a little bit more difficult to do with Prairie Learn. Why was Java chosen for 125? Well, okay, so now I guess we're into the tangent part of my walkthrough. So Java wasn't chosen by me. Java is a language that was popular. It was a popular choice for teaching introductory computer science, and still is. I still think if you look around, I think Stanford's introductory computer science courses in Java. There's a fair number of institutions that still have an intro programming course in Java. Frankly, when I started teaching this class, I wasn't super excited about Java. It's not my favorite language, and I didn't feel super excited about using it. Over time, I will say that I've grown more fond of it, and I think there's some really nice concepts that you will learn by using Java, particularly when compared with Python. So, I don't use Python as a programmer. I do a lot of programming. I don't write code in Python. I don't like Python very much. I'm happy to talk about that later in today's social hour if you want to. But I think for learning how to program, Python actually has some really problematic features. The lack of support in Python for data types. So, working with data in a more structured way. Having a variable, and we'll start talking about this tomorrow. When you work with data in Java, you have to tell Java not only the values of the data that you want to work with, but what kind of data it is. And this turns out to be incredibly useful. And I think it really is something that allows us to write better programs, more correct programs. Python is a great language. It's clearly in wide use. It solves a variety of different problems. It's pretty. There's certain libraries that it supports really well, and certain applications that it supports really well. But I think for learning some of the concepts in this class, Java is, in my opinion, a much stronger choice. The other thing that makes me happy about Java is that we can actually use it to build something that you guys can show off. So this semester, you guys are going to be building an Android application as part of the machine project for this class. So we're going to essentially walk you through the process, week by week, step by step, from zero, of building a small Android application. And I find that incredibly exciting because this is something that you can show when you're done, your friends, your parents, your relatives, and it's something they understand. It's like you write a Python program, it's like, oh, I wrote this Python program that you enter numbers at the command line and then it adds them together. It's like, your grandmother's not going to be able to use that program. But the Android app that you guys build this semester, anybody would be able to use. It's going to be kind of University of Illinois specific because it's focused on sort of browsing the course catalog here and stuff like that. But the idea is you can use Java to build real things. And some of you, there's students that have taken this class that have gone on and have built real apps. In fact, there's a popular bus tracking app that I think started as a final project in this class that's now still being supported by the student that started working on it and kind of took over after his partner decided he didn't want to do it anymore, and is still available on the Android App Store. You can download it. There's a paid version that has some cool features and stuff like that. So to me, one of the most exciting things about this field is the ability to build real things. And Java, not to say you can't do that in Python, but I think the connection between Java and app development makes it a very exciting language to learn. So hopefully that's an answer to the question. We'll walk through the proctoring process for quizzes tomorrow during lab. This is going to be similar to what other parts of the university are doing. You'll be expected to have your own a device that you can use to run Zoom that you can place in your workspace so that we can get a view of you as you work on the computer to complete that assessment. There are, the daily lesson pages I think have been linked off a few times. CS196 isn't open for registration yet. I'm working on that. It should be soon. But we usually don't open it until the first week. So if you've tried, it's not full. It's just not available yet. That confuses people sometimes. Yes, daily lessons due at the end of the day, weekly quiz on Tuesdays, a longer project later in the semester, and coders. That's it. That's a great summary. Are we going to expand from Java to Kotlin? Not this semester. Somebody's getting ahead of me. I'll talk about some of that offline. All right. So this is good. So I'm almost done today. I don't have a lot of other things to say. This is about the usual time frame that I'm going to try to use for these lessons. Today's lesson, to the degree that there's content in it, really starts to focus on this idea of introducing you to code as text, code as the poetry. Code is structured text. There is, an art and a beauty to writing computer code, and I hope that by the end of the semester, some of you will have absorbed that. There's a little bit. I think this is starting to lift, but for a time period, there was a sense that like programming was this boring drudgery. I remember once back when I was at a different university, there was this somebody who was like leading a tour, and they came up to my research lab where I was sitting there working with my students. We were all sort of, it's the middle of the day, and we were all just happily hacking away. And they asked, they had this very worried look on their face, and they were like, computer science isn't all about programming, is it? And I think where that question comes from is this sense of like programming is this like really awful thing that people shouldn't be doing, and it's depressing and boring. And there are programming tasks that are like that. I'm not going to lie. I mean, like anything else, right? I mean, there's probably some people out there in the world that are programmers but don't look forward to what they do very much because it's not very much fun, and they're forced to work in ways that they don't like. But overall, programming is a fantastic activity. It's incredibly engaging. It's creative. It's, one of the things I like to emphasize during the first week is that this is a full brain activity. So, your brain has two parts. It has a right hemisphere and a left hemisphere. And those two parts have slightly different characters to them. Some of you already know this, but for those of you that don't, the left side of the brain is the more logical, analytical, problem-solving side of the brain. The right side of the brain is the dreamer. It's where the root sort of source of creativity, certain emotions, higher order thinking. And one of the things that I think is so much fun about programming is that it really forces you to work with both cylinders. Computers are the ultimate embodiment of left brain thinking. The computer is pure logic. That's all it knows how to do. It doesn't think, it doesn't feel, it doesn't dream. It's just good at doing the things that you tell it to do. And we'll start to get good at telling it to do things that we want it to do. But as you're working as a programmer, so the left side of your brain is fully engaged with trying to please this computer. But the right side of your brain is also highly active because building code, particularly once you start to work on slightly larger projects, requires an enormous amount of attention to design, structure, creativity, even like on a line-by-line basis. There's times when you solve a problem using code and you think, wow, that was great. I feel really good about that. And that's the right side of the brain cheering and being like, yeah, that's beautiful. The left side of the brain is like, it works. Okay, let's move on. And there's other times where you're like, yeah, it works. The left side of the brain's like, yeah, that's awesome. Let's move on. The right side's like, okay, not super happy about that. So as you're doing this, particularly those of you that are new, expect it to be hard. Expect it to be tiring. You're kind of fully activating your entire brain, and you have to in order to write code effectively. And so that's what makes it, to me, such an enjoyable, if at times frustrating and maddening experience. And of course, the type of things that you guys can build once you get good at this are tremendously exciting. All right, so we're almost done. Last thing I want to say, and we're going to say this a lot this semester, is I just want to remind you guys, this is a community here. You guys are not alone. There are other people in this class. There are other staff in this class. There's ways to reach out to us. We're going to try to be in as much contact as we can this semester, but you saw the calendar. We have lots of chances for you guys to dial in and join up with the group and ask questions and talk to other people and interact to the degree that that's possible. But, even if you're by yourself, even if you're at home, taking this class remotely, you're not alone. You're part of a community this semester, and we're going to do the best that we can to support you throughout this journey that starts today. And that includes a lot of encouragement, a lot of support, a lot of reminders that what you're doing is hard, but as long as you keep doing it, as long as you keep it up, you will succeed. All right, so tomorrow's lesson, let me kind of make some plugs for our upcoming programming. So we've got some great stuff on the calendar today, I know that. I'm doing a social hour this afternoon at 3 o'clock with Nathaniel. You guys are welcome to join for that. I hope some of you will show up. I hope Zoom's working by then. Our first session this afternoon starts at 2 o'clock, so that's with Martin and Fizza, I think. This is a onboarding session for students. Long fan, then follows that at 3 with an Ask Us Anything session. Great chance to ask some questions about the class. My social hours at 4, actually. I'm glad I got that straightened out. And then at 5 p.m. with Lou and Fizza, again, we have our first homework review session, and then a second one tonight at 8 p.m. So that's what's going on today as part of the class. Hope you guys will join us up for some of these. Hope to see a few of you guys at 4 p.m. Tomorrow's lesson will be posted at midnight. Tomorrow we get into the nitty-gritty of how to do this. So tomorrow we're going to talk about data. We're going to talk about how Java stores data in your computer programs, and a little bit about the restrictions that Java applies to how we work with data in our Java programs. So I will look forward to being back with you again here tomorrow at 11. These sessions are recorded. They're not required. Some of you will come, some of you won't. That's totally cool. Work your way through the lesson, get help when you need it, and I will see you